today is Tuesday, and so that means that there's another episode of Trainer Talk Tuesday. Without any further ado,
grab your phone, grab your app, and follow along.
You already know. Let's just jump into this. Damn. What's up, world? It's your boy, a guy named Tye, and welcome back to the Tye Aarons podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about a little bit about some experiences that I've had last year, specifically about fasting. Now, back in September 2020, I decided to join a program from this YouTuber that I've looked up to since I was maybe like 14 or 15 years old. I actually was talking to him in the DMs, and I was like, yo, I got the chance to connect with Elliot Hulse, which was for me an amazing experience. And I joined his Kingtransformation course. Now, I did not really know what was in store, but this was a time in my life where I'm like, you know what? I'm really curious. I'm open to learn more things. I've already learned so much from him on YouTube over the years. Might as well join a course. There's so many things that he's done that has shaped me, not only as a trainer, but as a being, as a person, which has been exciting. Everything from breathing into your balls, learning how to deepen your voice, and the foundational elements of lifting, even before I went to college. Now, we went through 12 different lessons. We went through one thing every single week to develop ourselves. And it was transformational for me and 3 close friends of mine. Now that it's 2021, I've decided to go back and review some things because personally, I know I have to hit that reset button often. And we look to people that are ahead of us in order to fast track some of the things we're doing, so we don't have to redo everything on our own or try and reinvent the wheel. So one lesson that I really found beneficial for me in my life was about fasting. Okay, like there was a lot of things that we covered in that course, but fasting is the thing that I want to talk to you guys about today and share my experience around fasting and some cool tips, tricks, and things that you may not know about fasting, and some things that may make you want to try fasting and get the benefits. So let's talk a bit about fasting and what I specifically experienced on this fasting journey. Well, when I was fasting for the first time, we actually did a 72-hour fast. So we fasted for about 3 days straight. And there was so many weird aspects that I felt. It was I felt lighter. I was actually able to pinpoint where I had injuries in my body, which was very new to me. Like, I got a hand injury back in college from doing deadlifts for the first time. I did not know the right form and stuff. I was coming from a calisthenic background, and I didn't have enough grip strength to hold the bar. The rest of my body was ready for it. Everything else was ready, but my hands weren't strong enough to hold that much weight. I just felt a little tear in my palm. And since then, I've always had a bit of an injury on this hand. But when I was fasting, I could really feel it, like, on a deeper level. And that was new to me and interesting, because more times than not, when I go about my day-to-day, I don't feel anything here. But on the second day of fasting, it really became apparent. I'm like, whoa, you're still injured. And some reason, when the body is always digesting and always working, it's not really paying attention to what's happening in this hand, which that was one cool thing about it. At first, I felt like I was craving so many different foods, but as time went on, as the days, it was only 3 days, but every hour that passed after the first day, I felt less and less of a need to consume. I didn't feel like I was gonna die. We weren't doing a dry fast, so we could drink just plain black coffee and water, or like sparkling fizzy water, and drinking those like you felt full and you felt good. So those are just a bit of what I experienced. And the last thing is I lost like 5 pounds in those 3 days. Not to say that you should fast just to lose weight, but I'm pretty sure I cleared out everything inside of me in those 3 days, which is really, really amazing. I'm glad that I had that opportunity. That being said, there's about 5 things that I want to go into about fasting, why I'm going to continue fasting and exploring it, and why you should fast. So, first of all, what kind of fasting is there? Now, I mentioned my 72-hour fast. That's more of a prolonged fast. Some people go even longer, to 14 days, depending on if you're tracking your nutrition and everything properly, tracking your levels, or intermittent fasting. So, there's 1 meal a day fasts where you only eat for 1 meal a day, and that will definitely fall into intermittent fasting, to say, okay, you're in a specific eating window, and so you're gonna go for that one fast. And there's multi-day fasts. That's just like the multi-day fasts are pretty much like the 3-day fast that I experienced that I was telling you guys about a little earlier. Then between those, when you're doing either one, we have dry fasting and we have wet fasting. So a dry fast means you're having absolutely nothing at all. Nothing is going into your body. Some people even take it to the extreme of saying, I'm not taking a bath because your skin absorbs the water that way, and they're going completely dry. And some folks, like I personally prefer wet fasting, or you could also do wet fasting. And wet fasting means you're going to drink water. It means that you can have black coffee with nothing in it, or just tea with nothing added to it, or a snake juice. We'll go a little bit into what snake juice is later on. I'll touch base on it. Well, snake juice is pretty much we'll touch on it a little bit later. Now you may be wondering why you should even fast. Now there's so many health benefits to fasting that we can experience, and I have a list of about 12 different things that you may get benefits from when fasting. So why should we fast? 1, it lowers our blood sugars. Okay. 2, it lowers your inflammation. 3, it decreases brain fog. Okay, so when your mind feels all cloudy, you can't really think straight. When you fast, things become very clear. Okay, it reduces your chance of developing heart disease. It lowers your risk of Alzheimer's, lowers your risks of Parkinson's, lowers your risk of cancer. It enhances your immune function. Okay, it makes how your immune system's behaving and being so much better. It increases your longevity. So right now we're living in a day and age where we're probably going to live past 100 at this point, with all the advancements that's happening with health and the technologies around that, and how we're being more aware of our nutrition and stuff. The ability to live longer is more and more within our grasps. So fasting is just going to help us a little bit more along that path, especially because decreasing all those things that I mentioned a moment ago. It reduces your fat mass, okay? Because what is fat? Fat is just energy storage. It's energy that's sitting on our bodies because, you know what? We have evolved in such a way that if we went days without food, we needed to not die. You know, we don't want to be like, it's been 2 days and we weren't able to hunt that gazelle down, or kill that woolly mammoth, or whatever it was, catch that rabbit to eat, or the crops aren't ready to be eaten yet, whatever it was. We had to be able to go at least a week without food, so we'd have fat storages. But now we have such an overabundance of everything, right, that fat storages are not necessarily, they're not used as much, you know. They're just there, and they just store more and more. That's why we have obesity happening in our society, at least in the Western world. But by fasting, you're going to start teaching your body to use that, and it'll reduce the amount of fat that is on your body. Another benefit is that it gives your digestive tract a break. Okay, think about it. we eat about 3 meals every single day or more, plus snacks. Some of these meals are very large. And so our intestines are always working, okay? We never actually give them a moment to just breathe and completely clear out. In fact, a lot of people have 10 to 20 pounds of just waste sitting inside of their guts. Think about that. So when you fast, it'll help clear everything out, and it gives your body a chance to actually rest, recuperate, maybe even work better, be more efficient. And the 12th thing that fasting does for you is that it increases autophagy, okay? And that is eliminating the old and damaged cells, all right? Autophagy is actually, because it's eliminating or getting rid of the old and damaged cells, that is the thing that lowers your chances of developing cancer. You see, cancer is normally cells that have gone awry. They're old and they forgot the codes of how to not multiply a certain way. And they keep growing and growing. And by fasting, what we're essentially doing is saying, hey, you're old, get out. Like, it's time for you to get completely cleared out. That's one of the benefits that we have of fasting. Okay. Now, let's go into point number 3 of how to fast. Okay? Earlier we mentioned the different types of fasting that we have, but now we want to know how to fast. Well, first we have to decide what kind of fast you're going to do. Okay? Are you doing a multi-day fast? Are you doing intermittent fasting? Are you doing a dry fast? Are you doing a wet fast? Okay? It's ideal to prepare about 5 to 7 days prior to your fast. Okay? You're going to want to have certain foods in the house for once you're ready to break your fast. Or you're going to want to get rid of certain foods so that you don't end up breaking your fast when you're not supposed to. Because, hey, for me, it's chocolate-covered almonds that's my weakness, or chocolate in general. So maybe when I'm fasting, I don't have chocolate around because I might be tempted to just, grab just one and, You want to use tools and apps to help keep track of your fasting. Personally, I use this one app. I think it's called Fastic Pro, or it's this really cool app. I'll throw it up on the screen afterwards. And if any of y'all have questions on the live stream, send me a DM. I'll send you what the app is exactly. But it keeps track of your fasting and actually tells you what is happening when it's happening. That's what I absolutely love about this app. Okay, it says, hey, your blood sugar has gone up. Okay, it's gone back down. Okay, now it's leveled out. It says exactly once you've hit autophagy, and it breaks it down by the hours, and it's really cool. Even it helps you keep on track for however many days you're doing it. Okay. When you're fasting, you want to build up your muscle by taking baby steps. So maybe you don't just jump into it like how I did it, where I just jumped into a 3-day fast right out of the blue because I'm like, I want to challenge myself. And, I did it with some friends and we all kept each other accountable. So it was a little bit easier than not. Maybe that's not for you. Okay. Maybe you start with intermittent fasting where you're like, you know what, we're going to eat in a 8-hour window, which is a very common one. A lot of people start with that one because it makes sense. I'm going to eat from this time to this time, 8 hours. And maybe next week go 7 hours. You go 6 hours. Maybe a couple days out of the week you've been doing 6 hours for a while. Okay, 2 days out of this week I'm going to do a 2-hour eating window. So I'm going to fast for 22 hours. I'm only going to eat for 2 hours. And then you move forward and you try out, okay, I'm going to try 1 day, 24 hours, no food. Okay, let's do a day and a half. And you want to build up those muscles over time so that you increase your odds of success. Okay. Now, how do we break a fast? Okay. Now, when I was first fasting, I was not breaking my fast properly at all. I was like, well, I'm only eating in this small window, so I can eat all of this food at once. I was making these monster burgers and I was making like these huge pancake meals and all this stuff for no reason. It was so unnecessary. Okay. And I'd have this giant, I'd go up in energy and then I completely crash, and I would crash hard. All right. What you want to do when you're breaking a fast is you want to start with a small meal. Okay. Don't go balls to the wall crazy like I did. It does not feel good. It doesn't feel good. I promise you that. Okay. You're gonna want to have a small meal that has protein and fat, or protein and a high glycemic index carb. Okay. You don't want to mix your fats and your carbs together. We're trying to train the body to utilize one or the other as fuel, not both at the same time. And normally what will happen, especially after a fast, the body is going to want to use the carbs quickly and it'll store the fat. And we don't really want that. We want to use fat as energy. Some examples of that could be, we can have some fatty fish. We could have some egg. We can have some fatty nuts and some leafy greens. And yeah, we can explore a couple different things around that. Next up, how often should you fast? Now, when I was a part of the I still am a part of, but when I was doing the King Transformation course, Elliot suggests that we do UMAD fasting at least once or twice a year. Now, UMAD is literally the 3 days. He says 3 to 5 days. I did 3 days of no food at all. Okay. Intermittent fasting, they suggest you do it about 2 to 3 times a week. But like I mentioned earlier, you want to build up that muscle. You want to get used to it. And you can eat within the window that makes sense for you and what your goals are. Okay. No matter what it is that you're doing, try to keep track of it. Okay. Keep track of your progress. See how you feel, and adjust what you're doing based on how you're feeling and what you're doing. It'll help you in the long run. Okay. But that's pretty much it for today. Thanks for watching the live stream, everyone on Instagram. Thanks for checking out this YouTube video. Check me out at Tye Aarons. If you know anyone that can get benefits from this type of content, that wants to learn how to optimize their body, their lives, everything from their fitness, their finances, and how to make the most of it to have more fun, I'm here to help you on that journey. So thank you so much for joining me today. It's your boy, a guy named Tye, at Tye Aarons, and we're signing